Alright, well, I mentioned that this video was coming. If you didn't see the last one, we have our Stamina Arcanist. 105k DPS. I was going to say was going to be my best DPS character, but the Dragon Knight might top that off. I've been working on the Dragon Knight the last few days, trying to get him to 100k DPS. And I did. But there's a lot more room for potential there. There's also more room for potential in this build. We'll be going over that and how you could probably hit more like 110, 115. I can't really do it at the moment. We'll talk about that in a sec. Let's go over the abilities here. Obviously going to be using Exhausting Fate Carver. That's the main thing about the Arcanist. This is where like 50% of the damage pretty much comes from, is this one ability. We're using Cephaliarch's Flail. I know some people use the Morph of Rune Blades. I can't remember what it's called at the moment, but I just found it just doesn't do much as much damage, and this also makes it so you can consistently keep up that Abyssal Ink, as you see at the bottom. It increases your damage by 5%. And this ability does 100% more damage to enemies less than 50% health. So, aside from it already hitting harder once you're below 50% health, this hits even harder. So, would definitely use this over Rune Blades. I did some testing. Rune Blades is cool, but it just wasn't doing as much damage for me. On top of that, you still have to run this ability. So if you run Rune Blades, you'd have to move this over just to keep that Abyssal Ink up, and then you lose an additional slot. So then you have something like Deadly Cloak has to leave the bar. It just isn't worth using. Deadly Cloak, we are running dual wield. Now this is a Stam build, but dual wield is becoming kind of a Stam and mag build, so I do want to make that clear here. Really only using Deadly Cloak off of the dual wield line. The passives obviously speak for themselves of why we're using dual wield, especially this passive increases our critical chance by quite a bit for using 2 daggers, and you get a lot of weapon and spell damage. Aside from that, we are also running Barb Trap. Great damage over time and gives us that plus 10% critical damage. So, I mean, that one also speaks for itself. It's kind of a staple, kind of has been a staple. It also increases our weapon and spell damage. If we go to the Fighters Guild here, we can see we're getting 6% on the front bar because we are also running Camouflage Hunter to, get that damage even higher. We get the Major Savagery and Prophecy, increasing our spell critical. So, and for our ultimate, we're using Languid Eye. This thing hits extremely hard. When we go over the parse, I will be showing you. I mean, this thing does an extreme amount of damage in the 6 seconds that it's up, and I mean extreme. We go on the back bar now. This is a Stam build, but it's kind of more of a, what's the word for it? Oh, I can't think of the word all of a sudden. We're using pretty much only Magicka stuff on our back bar here. We got Blockade of Fire with the Maelstrom, Inferno Staff. I tried things like, I don't think I still have it on me. I tried things like the Maelstrom sword, great sword and whatnot, and it just, Blockade of Fire just hits so much harder. It's an extremely good dot. And then burning enemies take 10% more damage from this ability. So I mean, this ability hits hard. When we see in the parse, this ability is also one of our hardest hitting abilities, so it's a must-have. Oh, that's the word I was thinking of. This is kind of a bit more of a hybrid than it is just Stam, but it's mainly Stam focused, so, but I digress. We have Fulminating Rune. This is just a really good damage over time as well. And then obviously allies can interact with it, activating a synergy, which does even more damage. So in group content, this thing is hitting really hard, and on the parse, this thing also hits pretty damn hard too. Zena's Empowering Disc. Now this is kind of your flex spot, because when you're in an actual trial, there's most likely going to be an Arcanist healer or another Arcanist that is running this. If there isn't, definitely run it, but this is kind of more of a flex spot. This isn't really needed. It's definitely needed in parses, I would say. It does help improve damage, so make sure you're running it in parses. But when you're in actual content, you can slot this out for another long dot or something, and this thing will hit pretty damn hard. So Inspired Scholarship, another insane dot and a very good crux generator. When you have no cruxes, it immediately creates a crux, which allows you to throw some more exhausting fate carvers faster at max damage. So you're definitely going to want to be running this. And then if you see, while slotted on either bar, doesn't matter which bar it's slotted on, you're getting major brutality and major sorcery. So this is increasing. I mean, we could take a look here. Let's see, we're at 4377 and 5361. We take this off. Now we're at 3728 and 4584. We are losing a lot of damage. So, and that also shows it doesn't matter what bar it is put on, it's increasing that weapon and spell damage. So definitely need it. I mean, look at this, is unbuffed 5361. That's pretty high. Then also running Camouflage Hunter on the back just to get that passive damage, and also just running Languid Eye here, mainly because I tried not running Languid Eye in the back, tried Dawnbreaker, but I actually lost damage, and I think that's because of this. You can see our bonus is 2973 at the moment. We remove this and it goes down actually quite a bit, almost 1,000. So I think this being on the back bar and the front bar is pretty important. Plus that also allows you to not ever miss, you know, your chance at, I shouldn't say miss your chance, miss a few seconds of damage by not casting this the moment it's ready. You know what I mean? Or as soon as possible, because obviously if you're locked in a Fate Carver, you're not going to be able to cast it the second it's ready, but I digress. As for the sets, let's start off with, we are using Velothi Mage's Amulet. So light attacks aren't that important. So if you are really bad at weaving, this build is good for you. Like, I'm saying really good. I mean, you should definitely still try to weave because you still have the enchantments. But if you are bad at weaving, this build is going to be really good for you because this reduces your light attacks to basically doing nothing. But it increases all your other damage. So, and increases your penetration and critical damage. So, this is a must-have in this build. And make sure you have the weapon and spell damage, enchant, and bloodthirsty on all your jewelry. As for our first set, we are running deadly. So we are running double deadly rings, double deadly daggers, and then we are running deadly helmets. Since we're running Velothi we can't run a monster set. So we are running all deadly here. Deadly helmet, deadly rings, deadly daggers. And then for the daggers, we have Nirnhone and Charged. On the shoulder, we are just running Slime Claws just for that added critical chance. It gives the most critical chance out of any other shoulder piece, I'm pretty sure. So definitely Slime Claws here. And we are running light here, and we are running medium on all the other pieces. So just keep that in mind. And as for our other set, we are running Ansel's Perfected Jack. Now, I know Perfected, I know I said it's not needed in the past, yada yada. I would highly recommend getting the Perfected in this case. Usually when we're talking Reliqueens, it doesn't really matter that much, mainly because we were talking about it on mag builds, but we are talking about the Perfected bonus adds critical chance, so you're definitely going to want that. And on Reliqueens, in our last build, we did a Stand Blade, you would want Perfected for that, so A bit less lenient. Now, do you need perfected? No, but you will see a small fall off in damage, so keep that in mind. Now, I am recommending using Ansouls, but when we go over the parse, and you'll see this, if you are a really good player, I highly recommend actually running Riptide here instead, which is from, damn, what's that trial called? It is from Dreadsail Reef. We'll go over it real quick. Riptide, if you're missing basically 66% of your stamina, you're getting 740 weapon and spell damage, which is really high. This should outperform Ansouls from what I know. It was perfected Riptide, and then if you get the perfected as well, it still gives you that increased chance. And instead of the penetration, though, you get more weapon and spell damage. So Riptide is really good, and it is actually extremely viable on this Arcanist build, which, again, we will see when we go over the parse here, because the regain and the drain are almost exactly the same. So if you just drain 66% of your stamina before the parse, you should be able to keep that full buff from Riptide the whole time. So, and then obviously here, Maelstrom Inferno, infuse weapon damage enchant. Now, no sneak peek at the next video here. So as you can see, we have 3 parses here, all over 100k, and all consistently over 100k. I want to make that clear. We're gonna look at the best parse here. If we go to the graph, at one point we were hitting up to 150k damage, which was crazy. We did kind of hold that for a while, even kind of held like 110k there for a while, and then pretty much smoothed out. There are some drops, but pretty much stuck around 103 to 105k DPS throughout the whole thing. So if we go and look, I mean, not many light attacks. Weave time is horrible, mainly because of Fate Carver, as you can see here. But if we go over our stats, as you can see, Exhausting Fate Carver doing 50k DPS per second, so obviously this carries. And if you look at our second ability, Blockade of Fire, I've tried so many other things except the Maelstrom weapon. The Maelstrom weapon is just going to be the best here. I mean, it's doing 8k damage. Cephalarch's Flail, also hitting card, doing 8k damage per second, so no reason not to use this. The Languid Eye, surprisingly for it being an alt, is our top ability, even though we're not casting it too often. So if you run Heroism Potions on this build, and you're casting Languid Eye more often than if you're not running it, it's going to hit. And I did try using Heroism Potions, but I started messing up the parses, so I don't really have a very good example to show here. Deadly Cloak, also just hitting hard. Inspired Scholarship, hitting hard. Hemorrhaging surprisingly was doing a ton of damage. Hemorrhaging kind of went off. On the other 2 builds that were around 103k, Hemorrhaging didn't go off, so might have been a slight bit RNG as to why I hit 105k instead of 103, but that's such a minuscule difference at that point, it doesn't matter. Fulminating Root hitting hard, and you know, everything else here. I mean, this build hits extremely hard, super high weapon damage, decent stam. We're hitting over our max crit, but so be it. We're running for the champion points Wrathful, Biting Aura, Thaumaturge, and Exploiter. Of course, Exploiter for a 10% damage increase. This build is extremely good. Super easy. You don't need to land a ton of light attacks or anything. I don't know why that heavy attack's in there, but as you can see, I mean, light attacks literally do nothing, but you do get the Fiery and Poison Weapon, which is giving about 1400 DPS a second, so you don't want to not light attack, but if you're bad at light attacking, this build is going to be super easy for you. It's super easy to hit 90 to 100k. So as you can see, our regain is only slightly higher than our drain, so we could probably get our drain a little higher. And I think on one of these other parses it was a bit closer. Let's look here. Yeah, way closer. Look at the regain and drain there. So if you're running Riptide it's actually quite viable to run here and consistently keep that Riptide buff. So keep that in mind. If you're a better player than myself, Riptide is definitely going to be the move here, and you'll probably hit more like 110, 115k, maybe even 120. I'm not really sure how big the damage difference will be, if I'm being honest. I would assume you would at minimum at least hit 110k, so do keep that in mind. But I think that's all I really have to show. I expect the Dragonite video to come out pretty soon too here. But I hope you enjoyed. I like helping people out in this game, helping new players hit high DPS. So if this video has helped you, definitely let me know. Let me know what you would change if you think there's something I could change about this build to get higher damage. I'll definitely test it out if you guys wanted me to. So, but yeah, look out for that Dragonite video, and thanks for watching. I hope this helped, and I hope my other videos help. But peace. Thanks.